Flooding rains continue to be a threat across portions of our area. Your forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas starts right now.
This is Meteo Mundo.
Hi friends, Rusty back here with you at Meteo Mundo on this Thursday. Hope you've been having a very nice day. Coming up, we continue to see many of our area with heavy rain, widespread showers and storms, a flood risk that goes along with it, and a lot really to talk about as we get into this forecast video. So thank you so much for liking the video, and I am going to get right into it here. We're going to start with, again, the same area that I feel like I've been talking about here for the last week. It continues to be a good chunk of the Greater Antilles, including portions of Jamaica, Hispaniola, the Turks of the Caicos, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. Waves of very heavy rain, of flood risks, some thunderstorms are all coming with us in what's happening right now and what I expect to be happening over the next couple days. So let's start off with what's been going on in Jamaica. We continue to see pretty widespread showers and storms. We've had that since early yesterday. Wednesday was very wet and stormy. Today has been somewhat wet and stormy as well. We had earlier in the afternoon this blow up of storms in the interior locations, pushing off the coastline towards Ocho Rios and Port Antonio, clipping portions near Kingston. More heavy rain coming back in right now on this late Thursday, Montego Bay and Negril. I can show you the visible satellite imagery and you can see those brighter whites, those higher cloud tops. Look, the entire island still has the opportunity for additional showers and storms for the remainder of the day, and I'll show you that coming up as well. So it's going to stay wet in this area and it's going to stay somewhat stormy. So the Meteorological Service of Jamaica has issued another thunderstorm warning that goes all the way until 1 a.m. Friday, 1 a.m. early tomorrow morning. Again, I always pass along official information. I never issue my own watches or warnings, nothing like that. This is directly from the Meteorological Service of Jamaica. So this severe thunderstorm warning encompasses these scenarios. Heavy rain is going to be likely. We can see some areas of over 50 millimeters of rain again today. That's right around 2 inches of rain or even more. Localized flash flooding and of course lightning is a big threat. There's also a thunderstorm warning for all of the coastal and the offshore waters as well. Again, my friends in Jamaica, it's going to stay very stormy with some heavy rain, not just today, still the opportunity for some heavier rain tomorrow, and we'll take a look more at that coming up in just a second. But look at this blow up of really thick white clouds moving over portions of Cuba and Hispaniola and the Turks and Caicos. I'll switch back over to the enhanced satellite imagery because it's very clear to see this bubble up of moisture. There's a few things that are happening right now. We have a surface trough over the Turks and Caicos and just north of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. We also have a mid-level trough coming in from the west. So you have a couple of different areas that are providing lift and there's a ton of moisture to play with. And that's why we just continue to see this excessive rain. Now, if I slide over here, heavy rain is moving into Haiti right now. Lacaille, about ready to get hammered with some heavy rain. Port-au-Prince, certainly over the Dominican Republic. The rain is becoming more widespread late on this Thursday. You can see the blow up there on the enhanced satellite imagery. Anywhere really from Puerto Plata, Santiago de los Caballeros, we're beginning to see some of the rain develop near Santo Domingo, Samana, La Romana, Punta Cana. Certainly interior and northwest sides, heavy rain now, but it's going to get wet across the Dominican Republic. And again, soil's wet, landslides, mudslides, some flash flooding continues to be a potential. You live in these areas, let us know. I'll be monitoring that. Let us know how you're doing. Heavier rain is now moving into the Turks and Caicos. As I mentioned in yesterday's video, it's going to get wet in Matthewtown through Cockburntown, portions of the southeast Bahamas as well. We are just inundated with a lot of tropical moisture here. Then you get into Puerto Rico and the U.S. and the British Virgin Islands. And again, there's been a blow up of showers and storms. Boy, that heaviest activity is just offshore right now. Show you the visible satellite imagery I had here. Look at that big old plume of moisture with the showers and storms. Now, it's just clipped the northern coastline here. There's been a couple of special marine warnings, and there is a flood watch that is in effect for Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. It begins tomorrow through Sunday. I'm going to have a lot more on that coming up in the forecast. But I want to right now actually bring on the radar out of San Juan, and let me take off the satellite imagery. And I just want you guys to get an idea of some of this moisture. I mean, it is clipping the coastline right now. It's the lowest tilt. I'm going to look at a couple of different scans here, but look at that heavy rain from Arecibo right along the coastline, trying to get back towards places like Dorado and San Juan. Additional showers have developed in the interior portions of the island. There's all of that heavy rain that's just offshore, and we're just going to continue to see more rain working its way back in, especially beginning tomorrow for the eastern sides of the island, like Fajardo and Culebra and Vieques, and then St. Croix and St. Thomas and St. John. Again, all will be under flood watches beginning tomorrow, but just an excessive amount of moisture in this area. All right, let me turn off the radar. Let me go back over to the wide shot here of the satellite imagery, and then we'll zoom back in. And again, it's been a little bit quieter day in portions of the Leeward Islands. We're just starting to see a few showers bubble up right now over St. Kitts and Nevis, on over towards Saba and St. Bartholomew. Places like St. Martin and Anguilla could also get into the action as well. But again, it's been a little bit quieter in this area. Let me swing on the visible satellite imagery as well. You just kind of get an idea. We've had a few spotty showers through the remainder of the island chain, but it's mainly been a drier day. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and put on our current temperatures as well, and you'll get an idea that even though it's been very cooler in the areas that I've obviously seen the heavier rain, when you haven't gotten the showers, it's been another fairly hot afternoon, especially down in Trinidad and Tobago, where they've been seeing temperatures 90, 92 degrees, and it's just hot across the islands. Now, places like Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao, the ABC Islands are about ready to get some rain coming off of the mainland. So you can see their temperatures have dropped as the thicker clouds have moved in. I do expect some downpours this afternoon for Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. You can see that on the enhanced satellite imagery. Look at that blow up of showers and storms about ready to move into those islands. An area that has not had a lot of rain lately is going to be getting some rain on this Thursday afternoon. It's been relatively dry through Central America today. A couple of spotty showers off the west coast. I highlight Belize and our friends in San Ignacio, well above the triple digits again. Even Belize City today got up to 91, so it's been hot. San Pedro Sula there into the 95-degree range. Even Roatan has been knocking on the door of 90 degrees. It's been a beautiful afternoon in the Cayman Islands. You are just west of all of this moisture, not expecting any rain, at least in the short term, and it's been high and dry across the Bahamas. Again, an isolated shower is possible through the northwest Bahamas, but really it's the southeast Bahamas and the Turks and the Caicos. And again, just an abundant amount of moisture here that I expect us to see. So that's what's happening in the here and now. We'll get into the forecast in just 1 second. Before you do, I'd like to ask everyone to like the video. And if you're not a subscriber to Meteo Mundo and you're looking for the daily forecast across the Caribbean and the Bahamas, you found your home, click that subscribe button right now. We hit over 9,000 subscribers yesterday. My friends, I appreciate you, each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get into the forecast. We'll start off with what the winds are going to be like over the next 5 days, because this wind is going to play a factor in what it's going to do and how it's going to push this moisture around here. So the model will crank up and we'll take a look at a few things. Now, again, I don't see this becoming anything tropical as it moves to the north and to the east. It's an extremely interesting feature for early May, but more than anything, just the amount of moisture that is coming along with it. I want you to notice, though, that generally speaking, at the surface, we're actually still going to stay with our easterly breeze. Again, that trough is a mid-level system that will finally pull the moisture away and move it north and east. But generally, we're going to have our easterlies continue here. That should help bring in a few more showers to the Leeward Islands as we get towards the weekend, especially from Martinique south towards Trinidad and Tobago, where they've had drier conditions. I expect some heavier rain to be moving back in to the northern side of the Leeward Islands, anywhere from, let's say, Montserrat north. It's going to get wet. And you can see there's a little bit of a shift of the winds early in this period, and then we stay with our easterlies the remainder of that. A little bit broader view of that wind shift. Let me put this in pause mode, and then you can just see again, there's no twist to the low-level winds as far as this trying to become anything tropical. I've been keeping a really close eye on it here. You can't really even pick up that signature at the surface. But again, sorry about that. Again, we're going to drive in strong winds through the central Caribbean. The winds become much lighter In the southwest Caribbean, again, this is one area where we could see some thunderstorms kind of linger, but there's no wind right now to begin to try and wrap things up. But this is a very interesting area here when you have very light winds. Do these thunderstorms just kind of cluster and they want to just maybe try and develop into something? That's always something to keep an eye on. We're going to stay with the easterlies right on through the northwest Caribbean as well. And then for my friends in the Bahamas, again, we're getting to that time of the year, guys, where these fronts have very little impact with the winds. Generally speaking, it's going to be an east to a southeast breeze. Areas just to your north will turn a bit of a north wind with a very weak front moving across the United States east coastline, but that would be about it. Speaking of wind gusts, now we'll take a look. You looked at the wind direction. Now we're looking at the actual wind speeds. As I mentioned again, down towards the ABC Islands, strong winds on that map. Anything in the green is going to be over 20 knots. Again, you don't see any twist here at the lower levels with our surface trough right here and our mid-level trough moving across Hispaniola. But again, it will be moving away, but abundant amount of moisture. So nothing at the lower levels here. We'll take a look. I'll tell you what, let's look real quickly at the, we'll do the 80 meter winds. How about that? This is going to be actually a little bit of lift in the atmosphere as well. Take a look at a couple different things here. Again, there's just this little bit of a pinpoint of lift with this system as it moves away, but it doesn't linger. It can't hold on. As it gets a little bit farther north into the east, it dies out. Almost kind of gets absorbed with a mid-latitude cyclone to the east of Bermuda. But again, you know, these are the things that I look at here. I'm like, okay, we're having all this rain. It's early May. What's the situation? Well, the situation is, thankfully, this thing is going to be hauling to the east starting late tomorrow, but especially on Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to let this loop one more time, and then we'll pick it up right there, moving away. Now, on the tail end of it, guess what? Southwest winds at the mid-levels of the atmosphere are still going to crank in a ton of rain. So the problem is, even though this puppy's going away, guess what it's going to do? It's going to provide widespread heavy rain across these same areas. So now let's get into the actual forecast here as far as what this rain is going to do. I'm going to switch models here. Give me just 1 second. Might take me a little bit of time here to bring back up the reflectivity, but I want to make sure I get you guys the best information that I possibly can. Okay, looks like the model's set up. So let's break down how this is going to play out in these areas. We'll start back with my friends in Jamaica. You get the idea that the wet weather is going to be sticking around through tomorrow with drier weather coming in on Saturday. So step by step, you can see, and I'll back it up one more frame here. You can see through our afternoon hours, the model says, look, we're still going to blow up some showers. It may not be island-wide at one point in time, but anyone in Jamaica has the chance for additional heavier rain through the rest of this Thursday evening to the wee hours of Friday morning. As we get into early Friday morning and even into Friday afternoon, the moisture sticks around. It might be beginning to thin just a little bit tomorrow afternoon, but I've still got a pretty high rain chance for you as we get into our Friday, and then we start to get drier on Saturday. And by the way, stick around. I've got the island by island rainfall forecast coming up in just a little bit. But you get the idea for for Jamaica. It stays wet. Obviously, it's the same scenario through Hispaniola, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. Widespread heavier rain, these two troughs coming together, a lot of lift in the atmosphere, an abundant amount of moisture. I don't know how many more times I can say this, but again, there's no reason to focus on really one area. This is a very elongated, wide region of rich tropical moisture. So there's not a lot to assess between Punta Cana and Santo Domingo and Santiago de los Caballeros and Puerto Plata and even portions of the Turks and the Caicos. You're all in this zone for heavy rain. It's going to stay exceptionally wet in this area at least through Saturday, okay? So again, the farther east that you go, the longer the heavier rain could linger. It'll begin to dry out a little bit earlier in Jamaica compared to the Dominican Republic and the Turks and the Caicos and the Southeast Bahamas. And then we get into Puerto Rico and the US and the British Virgin Islands. And now you're talking about this wet weather sticking around at least through Sunday. So I mentioned a flood watch. Let's play this out for Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands, because those are the areas under the flood watch starting tomorrow morning through Sunday. Here's how this goes. We'll continue to see scattered showers develop throughout the rest of the afternoon and periods of the overnight hours. Additional heavy rain is likely, especially on the eastern side of Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands beginning later tomorrow through Saturday. That's kind of the bullseye of where and I expect the heaviest rain to fall, but the entire region has the opportunity to have much more, several more inches of rain through at least Sunday morning before finally that moisture axis moves away. So we have a flood watch issued by the National Weather Service in San Juan. That includes Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Again, they do not forecast for the British Virgin Islands. So this starts tomorrow morning through Sunday afternoon. Overall, widespread 2 to 4 inch rainfall totals are likely, but 6 to 8 inches is possible in a couple of spots. And the Weather Service has highlighted the eastern portions of Puerto Rico, the coastal islands, and then the U.S. Virgin Islands to potentially see some of those maximum. Obviously, that kind of rain with saturated soil already and somewhat higher river rises could lead to some flash flooding and some urban and small stream flooding. Please be very cautious. Make sure you check in with local officials as well for any updated information. But again, this watch is going to be for a few days starting tomorrow all the way through Sunday. You know I'll keep you covered here at Meteo Mundo as well. But my friends in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands in store for some wet weather. Now, again, that doesn't mean that the British Virgin Islands aren't going to get nearly the same totals. I'll keep an eye out on if any advisories or watches or warnings are issued for you, but at this point in time, no. That being said, I do expect, as I mentioned, the northern Leeward Islands to start to see some of this heavier rain moving in tomorrow and especially on Saturday. So for Anguilla and Barbuda and Antigua and St. Kitts and Nevis and Ceiba and St. Martin and Montserrat, all of those areas, you'll start to see your showers begin to develop as this moisture axis enters your area later tomorrow and then on Saturday, where the rain just becomes more widespread. Now, you're going to miss probably the heaviest rain and the most widespread heavy showers, but certainly your rain chances will be going back up again. And then, you know, it just still is this gradation of seeing, you know, the heaviest moisture stay just to the north of places like Dominica, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to get some showers here. You can see, again, going to let this run. We could have some of the easterlies drive in some showers for Dominica and Martinique and St. Lucia. I'm going to do one quick switch here. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to make sure I extend this model out just a little bit longer and make sure that I cover 5 days. So give me just 1 second here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm literally counting the days. Today is May 2nd. All right, how many days do I want to go out? So I wanted to extend this out because we'll stay with this easterly breeze in places like St. Lucia and Martinique and Barbados and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago should eventually start to see a little bit higher rain chances. There's still going to be just some passing showers here, but that moisture should become a little bit more abundant. But again, just to your north and just towards your west. Now, I think a very interesting scenario plays out for Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao because waves of moisture with, again, a southwest mid-level wind should be driving into the tail end of this trough. You notice as it moves away, we're still pulling in a lot of moisture. There's still going to be a lot of rain moving back in. And the crazy thing about it is we could even see a redevelopment of showers in these areas even early next week after this trough has moved away, depending on what happens here. I mentioned it in mid-April, how this 30-day frame between mid-April and mid-May could be exceptionally wet for the Caribbean. And boy, oh boy, is it playing out. Thank God there's nothing tropical as of yet, but man, all of this rich moisture, all the sea surface temperatures out of control as well. We're going to see some spotty showers in the Cayman Islands. Again, you're missing most of it, but there could be a few showers coming in over the weekend for Weston and Georgetown. My friends in Central America, it's a relatively dry forecast. We've had a few coastal showers over Belize and places like Roatan and Honduras. I can't rule out an isolated shower inland Nicaragua as well, but man, you know, it's generally about the heat. Cancun and Cozumel has enjoyed some beautiful weather lately. If you have vacation plans there, don't see a lot of rain over the next 5 days. You can see that running at this point in time. And then in the Bahamas, we might catch with this southeast wind some showers lifting back up through the central Bahamas and then trying to sneak into the northwest Bahamas. Generally speaking, the farther northwest that you live, the drier you're going to be. So I would expect a couple of showers for places like Arthurstown and Dunmoretown and Eleuthera and Nassau and Andros over the weekend or maybe early on Monday. And then you get up towards Grand Bahama and Walker's Key. The chance for rain gets even less. But I'll keep an eye out for my friends in the Bahamas. I promise you that. So what does the chance of rain look like? Well, again, it's relatively dry in the Bahamas, slightly better chance for a few showers on Saturday. Belize has been mainly dry, coastal showers possible. Antigua and Barbuda, again, rain chances are going to be higher, starting today, but even higher tomorrow and on Saturday and potentially even on Sunday as well. It's just extremely wet through the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Really high chances today, tomorrow. Still a 50% chance on Saturday, but there might be a chance that I have to A, raise this number, and B, just as much rain as possible for Sunday and Monday as well. Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, about a 20% chance for showers. Haven't been able to up that number as of yet. And then for Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, again, just exceptionally wet weather there through Saturday and even into Sunday as that flood watch continues. So let's take a look at just how much rain could fall. This is the total precipitation product here. I need to, let's see. It looks like I made one change, so I need to do that. Give me just 1 second here, guys. Again, if you haven't liked the video, if you haven't subscribed, why don't you go ahead and do that for me right now? I would absolutely appreciate it. All right, so let's take a look at the rainfall totals basically over the next 5 days. And what a swath of heavy rain that we see. You get into the purples, you're looking at more than an inch of rain. But now we're talking about pinks, and we're talking about whites, and we're talking about grays, and we're talking about orange. We're getting into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches of rain. So let's take a look at it. Again, I like the fact that the model here in Jamaica has been very consistent. Okay, so when we average this out, it's an additional 1 to 2+ inches of rain over the next 5 days. But again, a lot of that's falling later today and tomorrow, with then drier weather moving in over Jamaica. So Kingston towards Mandeville and Baypin, interior locations, Westmoreland Parish, St. Elizabeth, areas off towards the west, you should expect 1 to 2 inches. I think that's absolutely a very good number. Spotty heavy rain through portions of Haiti. As it gets over the mountains, it picks up, and you can see again, still bullseyeing some extremely hefty rainfall totals interior portions of the Dominican Republic. It becomes a little bit lighter along the coastline, but landslides, mudslides, additional flash flooding potential is a possibility. Again, if you live in these areas, please keep us up to date. But 2 to 4 inches of rain widespread, locally maybe even up to 6 inches. Again, it's going to get wet through portions of the Turks and the Caicos as well. Again, we'll average 1 to maybe 2. You can see there's just some heavier rain right off the west coast there, just west of Matthewtown. If that can slip in, I think it's absolutely possible. It's 1 to 2+ inches or some locally higher amounts in portions of the Turks and the Caicos. For my friends in Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, again, we're looking at, and I hope, Isabela and Mayaguez and Ponce, 1 to 2, same thing for San Juan. This model does not have as much rain as the Weather Service has mentioned. That's good news. But again, it's just one model. And when you're talking about localized flooding, you're talking about really small areas. So although widespread totals could be 1 to 3 or 2 to 4, again, you're looking at some spots that could be 4 to 8. Again, that's directly from the Weather Service in San Juan. So we have to watch out for that. It's still spottier when you get into the Leeward Islands, but we could still pick up some decent rainfall totals here. And I think, again, the model might be underdoing some of this. Certainly some of this heavier rain could slip right over these islands, so I'll be monitoring that situation. In general, again, you go further off towards the south, and I'm just going to kind of slide down these islands, and the rain just isn't as significant here. Barbados, maybe the west coast, we pick up 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain, hoping to get additional heavier rain back into Trinidad and Tobago a little bit later on, where we could see 1/4 to maybe 1/2 inch there. Again, I think it's a very interesting scenario for the ABC Islands. All this moisture coming back in. You can see for Aruba and Bonaire and Curacao, which basically Bonaire is covered up here. I was a little too far off towards the west. There's Bonaire, and then there's Curacao. Again, moisture-laden air running right over the islands where we could see 1 to 2 inches of rain. And again, this is an area that has not had a lot of rain. As I've mentioned, again, it's a relatively dry forecast for most of Central America. Not a lot to really harp on as far as that goes. And 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain in the Cayman Islands. But again, you just miss that thick moisture off towards your east. And then for the Bahamas, again, what does this look like right now? Well, it looks like very spotty rain for the northwest Bahamas. Just real quickly back over to our satellite imagery here. Let's get back over to let's see if I can do this here real quick. It is not wanting to cooperate. That's okay. Let's see if I can pull this back on. There we go. For some reason, the model doesn't want to disappear, but now it finally does. I just wanted to end real quickly on this water vapor imagery, because you can see this axis of moisture moving away. And I just want to again mention, this is a very impressive feature for early May. It's moving north and east, tropical no, but just look at all of this blow up here. That, my friends, is something I would expect to see much deeper into the summertime rather than early May. We'll see how the rest of the summer plays out. Friends, you want to find us on social media, you can do that in all the different places that you see. Got an email address as well. Please like and subscribe. I appreciate you. You have a great rest of your Thursday. I'll keep you updated. Have a great one, friends. I'll see you soon right here on Meteo Mundo.